Awesome people, inspiring stories, the Living the Dream podcast. Welcome back to the Living the Dream podcast. I'm your host, Matt Scaletti. I'm so excited for this guest today for so many different reasons. First off, he's probably been the person I've known the longest of everyone on this podcast. We met in high school, so we go way back. This is Darren Miller. He is an ultra endurance athlete. He has successfully completed the Ocean 7, which consists of 7 insanely long distance swims all over the world. The distances of the 7 swims average about 20 miles per swim. And I just know it took me over an hour to swim 1 mile the other day, so that's insanity. He is also an endurance runner, having completed God knows how many marathons and ultra marathons. It's well over 20, we know that. Darren has used his experiences to become a sought-after motivational speaker as well. His ultimate takeaway is to instruct his audience how to forge mental tenacity to know that anything is within our reach. What's up, Darren?
What's going on, man? How are you?
I am so good.
I love it. I love it. Good thing we got like matching shirts on today. We're good. I got the Pittsburgh skyline, bro. So we're good.
Oh, that's nice. He's coming out of California.
Greatest city in the world, baby. Pittsburgh, PA, city of champions.
For those of you just listening, he just busted out the terrible towel, which is the Pittsburgh Steelers calling card. That is amazing. I should have had one. I blew it.
I got Pittsburgh stuff everywhere here. We're good, man. We're good. We got to represent 3,000 miles from home. It's all good.
I love that. I love that. So let's get right into it. Let's hear we know a little bit about the swimming and the craziness you've done. What was your background? Have you always been into swimming and running, or how did this all?
Yeah. No, I grew up. Again, in Western Pennsylvania, Pittsburgh, born and raised. 36 years. I swam my whole life growing up. Pool swimmer. 50 freestyle, 100 butterfly. Never much into any kind of endurance. I was like one of those kids. I hated the long distance events. You know what I mean? So it's kind of funny. It's very humorous how that all comes full circle, right? So I went to college, Penn State, swam there for like 2 years. Unfortunately, coming off like a back surgery, so I got a little banged up. Left college, and at that point, I actually ballooned up to about 265 pounds. Got really into like heavy weightlifting, which is a total random thing to go from to be a swimmer, pool swimmer, then like gaining all this weight and being like a strongman competition guy. But I loved it, but that's like who I was, man. I was all very extreme with things that I went after. And I learned that later that I look back and I'm like, huh. But I love that kind of stuff. I was in the gym all the time. Total gym rat. Again, dude, that was the way of life. I joke being 265 pounds, you got a little extra skin hanging off, but it's all good, man. That's my quarantine body right here, so, but to me, after I left college, I was kind of at this point, right? And a lot of what I talk about, right, is that everybody goes through this darkness, right, in their life. Everybody is challenged. We're all challenged in different ways. And, my challenge is no different than your challenge, no different than anybody's challenge, right? It's just they're different parallels, right? So I graduated college and just kind of in that funky place, man. I lost some real close friends of me, drugs and violence. I had a family member and had a childhood disease. She passed away. It's very sad. So I learned, when I was like 21, that I lost 3 people that were close to me in a several week period, and it had this resounding period in my life where I was just like, okay, like I need to do something, right? At the time I was just in a funk, man. I was smoking a pack of cigarettes a day. I was, drinking like a 12-pack of beer at night. And I wasn't happy. I remember sitting up one day from a bench press and I'm like, and I'm like, what am I doing?
Yeah.
So I started going to the track with a friend and I just started like running, but I never ran any more than like a 1 mile in gym class, like that dreaded 1 mile where we're all like, oh God, we got to run, trying to get that President's Physical Fitness Award, which I never got because that damn V-sit and reach would get me every time.
That did it to me too.
Yeah, I was never flexible and I still am not flexible. But anyway, that's beside the point. We'll move past that sticking point in my life. But I went out and I started running. And I was like, okay, I'm like, the fat guy on the track running down the track. And I'm like, all right, I like this. Like after a couple of weeks, I was like losing weight. I was feeling good. I quit my smoking. I clearly wasn't drinking as much. Like life was starting to feel good. Right. And so naturally, I'm like, all right, I want to sign up for something, right? And I'm looking out there, and I always remember these people that ran the marathon, and I was thinking like, oh my God, I remember growing up, and somebody would mention like, oh, Matt ran a 26-mile, run. I'm like, that's crazy. Um, and I got so all of a sudden I'm like, all right, that's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna run, and then I signed up for a marathon, like out of nowhere. Never ran a 5K, never ran a 10K, never did a half. Like I just went right for the freaking marathon. So I'm like Googling like marathons, right? And I signed up for the God's Country Marathon, which is up in Coudersport, Pennsylvania, like middle of nowhere, Potter County, beautiful area of Pennsylvania. But it was like 90 degrees that day. It was super hot. It was like up and over this mountain, like it was like 16 miles of it was just like climbing. And I realized that like after I got there, it was probably not the marathon I should have started with. And so I get to the starting line, and I'm like, I swear, I'm like, I could eat the guy next to me for breakfast, because I'm still like 255 pounds or something. And I ran the marathon that day, and what I learned was it was this turning point in my life where I realized like I just did something that like I didn't think was possible, right? And it wasn't like I didn't believe in myself, but it was like, did I really just complete a marathon, right? So it's like, now what? Like, what else can I do? So I'm like, all right, what else can we do? And signed up for a couple more marathons, and then basically then my goal switched to, all right, so I ran my first marathon. Now I want to qualify for Boston. And that was about, at that point I started losing more and more weight. About 3 months later, I ran my next marathon. I ran the Philly Marathon. Then I did another half marathon. Then I ran Pittsburgh in May of 2009. So it was about roughly about 11 months after my first marathon. Qualified for Boston and Pittsburgh. I weighed like 190 pounds. So I lost like 75 pounds, 80 pounds, whatever. So I was just like, I was on this high, man. I was like, this is awesome. Like, just what else can we do, And then I got into the ultra running, right? So I ran my first 50 miler about 6 weeks after Pittsburgh. Unfortunately, I fractured a metatarsal in my right foot, and I towed the starting line of a 50-mile race with a foot that was in excruciating pain, So it probably wasn't the best thing, but, being stubborn, I'm like, all right, let's do it. So I crushed that 50 miler. And then afterward, like I was clearly banged up, right? I'm walking around in one of those walking boots. And I'm like, all right, where are we going now? Like I can't run. I can't do anything right now. So I was reading a book about an open water swimmer. It's called Swimming to Antarctica. It's a phenomenal book about a lady who back in the 70s and 80s set all these records all over the world, English Channel, Catalina, all this stuff. And it was very inspiring. And so I loved the chapter on her English Channel swim. And I'm like, that's it. I'm going to go, I'm a swimmer, whatever. I can run 26 miles. Surely I can swim 26 miles, Woo, that was a learning lesson, So just like I went for the marathon, like I literally like never did anything open water. And I signed up for the English Channel. And I was very blessed because at the time I was wanted to do something like, I got you still there?
Yeah, I got you. I lost
you. Okay, cool. Sorry, I lost you.
Yeah.
So I was working with a girl who wanted to do something, honor her dad, and we came together and we started the fund at the Children's Hospital of Pittsburgh to go toward the infant cardiothoracic ward. So it's helping families deal with the small costs, prescription, food, lodging, things like that, gas. So it was just like helping families out. So that's what I was all about. Like I grew up that way. It was all about giving back, right? Mm-hmm. So this is the opportunity I had, right? God gave me this ability to push myself that I found that I didn't know I had at the age of 25, 26. And I just took it on and went after it, right? So my friend were like, oh yeah, English Channel, and signed up for it. And then I realized like 22 miles, in a Speedo cap and goggles in water that's only in like the high 50s, right? Oh. And I remember the first day I went out to Keystone State Park, right near where we grew up.
Yeah.
And I'm like sitting in the lake, and I'm like, it's like 58, and I'm like, screw this, I got out, you know what I mean? And I'm like, holy crap. So in my mind, I'm thinking, all right, how am I going to train myself? How am I going to think outside the box, right? So I started taking like cold showers. All that stuff, man, just outside shoveling snow in my flip-flops. I was the crazy guy down the street,
Yes.
But I had to do what I had to do. I'd go swim in the ice flow in the rivers. Like I was like, whatever I had to do to adjust, right? And it worked out perfect, man. And July 19th, over 10 years ago now, which is crazy. Swam the channel, England to France, 12 hours, 4 minutes, man. It was a long day in the water. And but again, getting back, and I'm like, all right, now what, right? I'm like, I just swam the English Channel. I'm like, what else can we do, And I'm just riding this high, and found the Ocean 7, which you had referenced, and the Ocean 7 was basically 7 different channels across the world. And at that time, there were, a dozen people that were actively going at it. And I was like, all right, let's do this, right? So I was at a Rotary meeting I almost didn't go to. Crazy. Again, timeline of life, how life works. Mm-hmm. And spoke at the Greensburg Rotary. I met my sponsor at the time. So Kathy, my friend Kathy Cartieri, she had sponsored my English Channel swim to help honor her father. And then we continued to raise money for the hospital. And my new sponsor I found was Pete Dochenez, who owns Trustmont Financial Group out in Greensburg. And he's like, I love your mission. This is amazing. Let's do it. And I'm like, you kidding me right now?
Oh my God.
So he basically, he and his company basically funded the remaining 6 of these 7, which was an absolute blessing because, the English Channel was $10,000, so you could do the math. So I'm like, oh my God. So I start mapping this out. And August of 2011 did Catalina Channel off California, 22 miles again. That was swimming at night. That was a little scary. We know what swimming in the water off California coast. So that was a big thing, the mental.
Yeah.
The third swim was the Molokai Channel. That was from Molokai Island to Oahu. That was the longest, about 26 miles. And that was like tiger sharks, man of wars. I got stung by 3 Portuguese man of wars. Thank God, no box jellyfish that day.
Oh my God.
But it was like, I call them like free tattoos because the stings just left like scars on my body. It was crazy.
So you got stung while you're swimming and you
still
like 10 miles ago?
You keep going. I got stung like right off Molokai, man. I look up and I'm like, just so beautiful. And then out of nowhere, it's like, phew, and I just get this like man of war gets me all down my body.
Oh,
I scream up in the water. I'm screaming like a little kid, I'm like, but I just keep going, And then like we got near the end and you finish at Sandy's Beach, which is known as Breakneck Beach. And you get, got this jet behind me, finally swim in, crash into like, 6 inches of water. It's one of the toughest shore breaks, on Hawaii. And I get in there and I swim up and I finish. And that day we actually set the record by like 40 minutes and it was awesome. I was so happy. Like our team just did great. Right. And it's not about me. Like I just swim. Like the team effort is how you get this. And I always remember I get up there and the one guy's like, oh, where'd you swim from? And I'm like, Molokai. He's like, Molokai. He's like, where are you from, bro? And I'm like, Pittsburgh. He's like, where's that at? So it was hilarious, So that was number 3. And then number 4 was Gibraltar, swimming from Spain to Morocco. That was super cool. Short swim. Did it with 3 other friends. Amazing day, dude. Swimming up and climbing out on African soil was just,
By the way, short swim for Darren is like 10 plus miles, just to put that in perspective.
It was like 9, okay? It was like 9. Give it a break. The 5th swim was the toughest day of my life. That was the Subaru Channel swim. That was in northern Japan.
Why was that so tough?
July 2012. Dude, rough conditions that morning. Jumped off the boat, swam in. In our sport, you climb out of the water, and I slipped. I got nicked. I got all jacked up. And I was bleeding like really bad from my forearms and my legs. And I'm looking out over this foreboding ocean. And I'm just like, again, I'm like, I may not get another shot. Like I'm going for it. Let's do it. So I just jump in, start swimming. I'm expecting like 8 hours. The water's just beating me from every angle, man. And if you ever see the videos from it, I have them out there. And it's just like, I call it sandpaper chop. It's just like all day, 2-foot waves hitting you from every angle,
Oh.
And swim like 8 hours in, and I realized like I'm nowhere near the other side. Like I expected it to be an 8-hour swim, 9 hours, 10 hours. How far am I? 5 miles. How far am I? 5 miles. How far am I? 5 miles. Like I was swimming in an eddy, not getting anywhere, trying to go this way, and Mother Nature shoving me this way.
Oh man.
So after it started getting dark, started getting cold in the water, and after about 15 hours and 55 minutes, I got out the other side. Saw a shark swam right below me. I'm like, oh, this is it. Here we go. But still here.
But that was just because you brought it up. How are you swimming and just so, I don't know if it's focused or fearless or whatever it is, but you see a shark where you know if it thinks you're a seal or whatever they think and it comes up, it's not good news. Like, how do you get?
That's the way I view it, life, man. You you get an opportunity to go out and do these things, and you have this crazy out of body experience swimming in all these amazing places around the world, being out in nature, and it's just like I knew why I was doing it. I do it to help the children at the hospital. I'm certainly not doing this stuff for myself. It's humorous to me because it's like, why would I go out and do this to myself? I don't get it, but
Yeah.
everybody's different. So I'm not going to knock anybody that does it for themselves. Part of it's of course an intrinsic building, but I visualize, the kids at the hospital, those families, and now having two kids of my own, like I get it so much more now. Those mothers that would tell me stories of, their kid just fighting for their life. And then I remember one distinctly, and I still get like tears in my eyes, the mother talking about their child being wheeled away in a body bag. And I'm just like, you know what, like, right now I'm getting like goosebumps right now. Cause I'm like, yeah, this is not hard. You know what I mean? Like I'm okay. I don't care. And I go through a lot of pain moments without a doubt doing these things. But at the end of the day, this is not my hardest day, and these families and what they've gone through, is like nothing compared to what I'm going through. Right. So I always visualize my third boat. People always say, what do you think about out there? And I have this mantra, and it's basically just, every breath a gift, right? That's my business. Mm-hmm. And the boat that's next to me. So I have my escort boat, I have my kayak, and then I got the boat that nobody sees. Right. And that's my grandparents. That's my friend Summer. That's my buddy Jimmy. That's my cousin Kara. It's my grandparents. It's my uncle. And you know what, dude? Like, I feel like I'm like start crying right now, but I just like that intensity, that strength that I look over, and when I'm at my lowest point and I look over and I'm just beaten alive and they just tell me to keep going, like, dude, there's nothing that's going to stop me. Right. I'm going to push. Right. And that's the most intense strength that I have in my life, is having that. And my grandma was my hero in life. Like, my grandparents grew up along the railroad tracks, blue collar community. My grandfather had a 6th grade education. They didn't have anything, right? But what they had is love for themselves, love for God, love for their kids, right? And I love that. And I just, like, to me, that's my definition of success. Success to me has nothing to do, and I talk about this, nothing to do about what's in your pocketbook, man. There's thousands of billionaires out there. If you think by making billions is going to make you special in life, you got a whole lot of people in that boat. You know what I mean? So it's just like, get out there, afford your family, do the right things for your kids. Like, I get it. You want to live, but what makes you different, right? What makes you're always thinking, what makes me different than everybody else out there? Okay. And I knew that by getting out and inspiring people, right, to say, hey, here's where I went from in my life to where I am, from a success point of view. Like, to me, it's like, how can I help as many people as possible? And through inspiration, God gave me the ability to get out and do these things, and I'm going to get out and do it, And that's what I was taught growing up. It's like, give back how you can. Like, my grandmother passed away while making pierogies at her local church. She had a stroke at church while, and her making pierogies at church and me swimming in the English Channel, guess what? They're the same thing, right? And that's what people don't get in life. Like, you don't have to go out and do all these crazy things to make a difference, right? It's simple. You can make a difference by doing little things. You don't have to get extreme like what you and I do, right? But we all have a different gift, right? Find that gift and just go for it, right? I get super passionate about that, because when people are like, oh, I can never do that, I'm like, oh, yes, you can. There is no reason you can't do that, okay? It is right here, and it's the person you see in the mirror every morning is the one that is stopping you from getting out and doing these things, right? And it may be challenging, like, oh, I don't know how to get started. Well, guess what? You get started by going out and taking that first step. That's all it is. I didn't have anybody to guide me. I didn't know how to run a marathon. I just run out and started freaking running. Like, I don't know. It's really not much more difficult than that, right? How do you swim the English Channel? You take a stroke. Okay. And then you take another stroke. And then you take 27,000 more. And then you're in France, like, this isn't rocket science, people. Oh, I can't lose weight. How I lose weight? Well, okay, I don't want to go down that path. But anyway, it's like, we know what's good for us, and that's really as simple as it is, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, I love that. I'm so
went off on my little exciting, fired up tangent there.
No, but this is so good. What do you say to somebody that says, "Hey, Darren, I don't know what my gift is. How do I find my gift?"
Your gift is what you find that you enjoy in life. So everybody enjoys something, right? Let's say you're great at playing the trumpet. Okay. Well, if you're great at playing the trumpet, guess what? There could be somebody out there that can't afford lessons, right? That can't afford something or a kid. Like go to your local school, right? Like find people that you can help doing that. If you like to coach, a sport, get out there and volunteer, coach a sport. I mean, I coached for years. I never wanted to take a dime because it was about giving back, if you like to kayak, go out and join a kayak group. You like to knit, man, be the best knitter out there. Right. But like use your what you knit to like sell and raise money for something that you care about, we all have a gift, right? It's just like, it starts with what you enjoy, what you love to do. Like me, it was always about exercise. That's what I loved. Right. So then I took it to the whole nother level, but I'm fine with that, because through that, I've traveled the world. I've met amazing people for the last decade, 12 years of my life. I have what these eyes have seen is like, I could die tomorrow and I'm like, I'm good, bro. And that's the goal I find, right. Is that, it's like you have to understand death before you understand life. And that's all about life appreciation. It's all about understanding that like at any moment that can be taken from us at any moment, and to me, like I've never been in that point where I've ever felt that, but for the people that I've talked to, right? For example, your beautiful wife, my friends that have gone through cancer, my friends that have done this, like, it's like that moment where you're like, you realize life is short. Okay. And I've gone through a few moments like that in my life where a lot of things could have been taken from me. Right. But it's very simple in that you see that and you say, you know what, I'm going to go out and give today my best, and if I can't give today my best because it's a tough day, then try to go out and make tomorrow your best, and if tomorrow you wake up and you're dealing with your kids or the world's really hard, then try your next day to make, like the goal is to go out and try to build yourself to that next level. Right. But it starts with appreciating what you have. And that's what I find in society is that we don't appreciate that. We take a lot of things for granted and especially health. Right. And to me, like I go out and I do all these things because I love being in nature. I love meeting people, but most importantly, I love inspiring people to say, hey, look, I know what it's like going through that dark moment. I know what that's like. I've been there, and at times I'm still there, but guess what? I'm pushing through that and so can you. Right. And that's what it's all about. And that's the journey that I'm on in life, man. And it's like every day, so.
This is so good. Oh man, this guy he rocks the stage the same way. I mean, it's insane. So what was the biggest takeaway? And then we'll transition to.
Yeah. So after I did Subaru and then I did Cook Strait, New Zealand, that was the sixth swim. Seventh swim was Northern Ireland. That was the coldest, 53-degree water. That was a brutal day, man. But that's been the favorite place I've ever been to is Northern Ireland, man. I loved it up there, right? So long story short, finished the Ocean 7, August 29, 2013. The first, just blessed to be the first person to be able to do all these on one try because you don't get that lucky, man. Mother Nature can be really ugly, and I just got a total blessing to be able to do them all first try. And after I got done with that, it was like, all right, now what? And then I got back into running, started a family, kids, and now I'm out here, right, in Southern California, finding myself now. But to me, it's about getting on stage, inspiring people. But again, it doesn't have to be on stage. Like to me, I can do it at work. I could do it in the bank. I could do it on stage. I can do it just out on the trails, man. You just find somebody and brighten their day, and you're wonderful at that, man. And you live that mantra, and it's the same thing for me. It's just like every day makes somebody smile. I love this. Sorry to get this right.
Yeah.
So there was a guy that used to come into the bank every day, and where I used to work at back in Pittsburgh. And this guy would come in and he was 96 years old, 96. Wow. He would walk into the bank every day and like write a check or whatever. I don't think he did anything more than like, yeah, I'll take out $5. Like he just wanted to talk to people. Yeah. But he would come in every day. And I know you like dancing. He would come in, he would be like, he'd do like this little like jig, this little shuffle. And I'm like, Mr. Woodward, I'm like, oh, what are you doing? He's like, and I go, what? He goes, I made you smile. He goes, that's my goal. He goes, that's my goal every day in life is to make somebody smile, and God bless him. This was like a decade ago. So I'm pretty sure Mr. Woodward has passed on, God bless him. But like that guy, like every day, man, he would come in the bank, he'd do just like a little shuffle, and I'm like, Mr. Woodward, but like he would make everybody smile, and it's like, okay, success. That is success in life. Like he could make people smile every day. Like I love that. It's as simple as that, right? So
That's
I don't know. I love that. And then my other one I really love is, so I was doing this 24-hour run around Edgewater Park up in Cleveland. And this was like 2014. And there was this guy there, and his name was Leo Leitner. And I met him at the Mohican 50 miler back in '09. And I saw him again 5 years later, 2014. And he's shuffling along the trail, and I go up to him. I'm like, Leo, I'm like, I get out, and I talk to a lot of people, and it's what I love to do. And I said, a lot of people that are older, right? I don't say older, oh, I can never do that. I'm this and that. I'm too old, He's 86, and he's doing a 24-hour run, right?
Oh my
I'm
God.
pretty sure he started running at like 65.
Oh my God, this is great.
So I come up next. I'm like, dude, give me some advice. Like, what do you like? I get out and I go, give me some advice to talk to these people. He goes, you live and you die, and you better have some fun in between. That was number one. And then he goes, tell all those 60 and 70-year-olds to get all those young people to get off their butt, And I was like laughing. And it's like raining. It's like 3 a.m. We're like laughing, shuffling next to one another. We're like struggling. And he says like that. And I'm like, that's the greatest thing ever, So like, you're born and you die, and you better have some fun in between. I love that quote because it's so true, right? Like, we're born, we know when that was. We don't know when this day is, so we better have some fun in between. And you know what? If you're wasting every day doing something you're not happy, that's on you, all right? It's not on anybody else. You control what you can in life. And, if everybody else wants to make your day hell, that's fine, but that's not what you're controlling, right? Keep your eyes focused on the sun. Don't worry about the shadows, because that's life, man. We're all going to go through challenging times.
That's true. I love how simple is so powerful to me. And I think that's so cool. So what the heck is next for Darren Miller? I know you probably got 10 things in your mind that you're probably.
Yeah, we got, so I'm like totally revamping the website right now. Super excited about it. Continuing to work on my book, continuing to work on a lot of, seminar strategies, things like that. But I got a great new charity we're going to be supporting. I got a 100-mile run out here that I have just found that's going all through Pacific Crest Trail, all the elevation. It's going to be absolutely brutal. It's going to be going over 2 main peaks, working with the Bureau of Land Management and the Forest Service right now to finalize the permitting. But it's going to be like, I think it's going to come out to about 109 miles, and it's going to be a really difficult ultramarathon, but super beautiful. Up and over 2 peaks. I mean, I can't say enough about it, man. So we're going to call it the Saints 100. San Gorgonio, San Jacinto. San stands for saint in Spanish. So instead of calling it the Sands, I call it the Saints. I just think that's perfect.
Yeah.
So that's my new race I'm going to direct outside of I have to rep my 3 Rivers Marathon swim I do every year. So both of those are going to be fundraisers back in Pittsburgh for the hospital, still here for my new charity. And then I got a super, super surprise I'm excited about. I'm on a leash that we're going to start training for next year. Haven't released it yet. Stay tuned. Follow me on Instagram, Facebook, keep tuned. Super excited about it, but it's going to be a hell of an effort. And, I can't wait, man. So that's what's next, man. But you know what? What's next is today. What's next is tomorrow. And what's next is being the best dad I can be to my 2 kids, who I wake up every day, and there's nothing better than having 2 kids just laying on you. When you wake up in the morning, man, that's the most beautiful gift you can have. So be the strongest man I could be for them. And that's what it's all about, bro.
Oh, it's so good. And I'm so excited for the future. And Darren, he may make me run with him for a little while. We don't know yet. Talk about that. But I'm here for you. And I was perfect that you mentioned it. Where can people, what's the website? How do they follow you on social?
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, we're redoing the website, but the current one it's just Darren-Miller.com, Darren E. Miller on Instagram, Darren Miller on Facebook, whatever. But it's we're super excited about what's next, and we're gonna release that to the world coming up pretty soon. But just trying to capture all that energy and spirit that we had back in the ocean 7 days, and now just could do again, man, continue to motivate and inspire people to be their best. And with my motto, every breath a gift. Again, it's just every day we wake up with a breath in our lungs is a beautiful day. And the second we start to realize that, that's when you can turn that corner and move to that next point in your life to find the success that you want. Right?
I love it. It's so good. And also, Darren's on his website. You have to see it. He has probably the best promo video that I've ever seen in my life. I tried to replicate it slightly and I couldn't do it, but it's so good. Oh, it's so good. I remember texting you about that because I needed some help with that. It was so good. All right. Let's hit you with the final 5. Rapid fire, 5 questions. See if you can answer in a sentence if you can. Sure. Let's get right into it. How do you want to be remembered?
remember to me is all about legacy, man. It's to say that you had someone that understood what life was all about, and life is all about giving back. And when you center your life around helping others, you will find that the things, material goods, money, all that means nothing. And when you find that you give back to others, that is the best reward you can ever have.
That's so good. And I have to say from personal experience, Darren lives by that. I've seen it being a friend of his. So this is not just talk. The man lives up to everything he's saying, which I think that's the best. What are you most thankful for?
I'm most thankful to be alive each and every day, but I'm most thankful for my kids, to have the absolute blessing of being a father is absolutely the newest thing in my life. So for the last couple of years. And again, I just think daily, how can I make myself stronger in order to make them stronger? And that's my focus in life. My life now is no longer about me. It's about being the best father I can be to raise these kids to be as strong as possible in a very tough world. This world today, and especially after you become a father, you learn a lot, right? And I want to make these kids as strong as I possibly can, and I know I got the tools to do it. So now it's just a matter of the challenge of being a dad every day, because you just never know what's going to happen, right? But you live that example every day, and you do your best so I can be the hero, right, that my grandma was to me, that I can be for them.
Oh, that's a beautiful thing. And I'm assuming one, if not both of your kids will be running a marathon at 5 years old. So, I don't know, but I'm sure. All right. You kind of gave us a little tidbit of this with Mr. Woodward, but what is Darren Miller's best dance move?
I am not nearly as good of a dancer as you are, I will say, but I tell you what, man. I honestly, so again, I'll just simply say I can't say I have a dance move, but for me, it's about like be the life of the party, right? Be that person that when you go to a wedding where you don't know anybody, I want you out on that dance floor. So whenever they look back at their wedding video 5 years later, they're like, who the heck's that guy? You know what I mean? Like that's the goal, right? Be the life of the party. And it's not like, oh, look at me. It's like, dude, just get out there and again, man, make people smile. That's what it's all about.
Oh, so good. I love it. What's the biggest obstacle you've overcome?
Biggest challenge to me was definitely, that day out in Subaru, right? The big challenge, right? I'll just use that as an example because to me, it's just, it's pushing through those barriers, right? It's your body's telling you to stop over and over and over and over. And how you get through those really difficult points in your life is having that third boat next to you, right? Or having those people on the trail in front of you, or having those people in the car next to you as you're cycling, right? You always have to have that visualization to see yourself as successful, number one, but number two, it's remembering those people that got you to that point and seeing them and being thankful that you have the opportunity every day to go and do what you love.
I love that idea of the third boat. That's the first time I've heard you say that. I think that's so good. Oh, it's so good. All right, last one. Who is your hero?
Yeah, my heroes, again, I alluded to it, my grandma. My grandparents had that message growing up. I mean, don't get me wrong. I love my parents, beautiful people. It's just, I feel like best way to describe this. But yeah, no, to me, it was to say, what is success in life? Success is not about money. If you push to only focus on money in life, you are missing the point of life as far as I'm concerned. You can do a lot of great things with money. You can help people. You can help your family. And I'm not saying don't make money. But at the end of the day, again, like what the example of what my grandma, and I saw that as my life. I put it on a pillar, man. I put it on this mountain, okay? And I got a tattoo on my side, and it says forever. And it's a song by the Dropkick Murphys that always reminded me of my grandmother, right? And I got her initials, her date of death. And I find that legacy, what you talked about, well, how do you want to be remembered? There is not a day that goes by that I don't think about my grandma, okay? And she died February 26, 1998.
Wow.
So we're talking almost, coming up on 22 years, okay? Over 22 years. That's legacy. That means you did something right in life, that you are remembered every day, right? Because we have this finite period of time that we're here. And then when that time is up, we can't make that difference anymore, right? You only got one shot, and in this world, and to me, it's just to say, again, it doesn't matter if you're swimming the ocean 7 or you're making, pierogies at your church. It does not matter, right? It's a matter of helping others is the concept, right? It doesn't matter what you do. Just know that life is not about you. It's about helping other people. And that's the gift that you have.
This man is an inspirational dynamo. Darren, thanks for hanging out for a little while. I'm always rooting for you, even 3,000 miles away. This has been so much fun. Thanks for your time, my friend.
Love it. See you
Good
soon.
luck. Oh, yeah.